Good day, everyone. I am Dr. Parinita Goswami, Assistant Professor of Law at Manipal University, Jaipur. Let's start with the introduction. Historically, migration has been motivated by desires for economic prosperity, access to education, and personal safety. Throughout history, individuals have relocated in search of work, education, or safety. The phenomenon of migration, motivated by wealth, can be traced back to historical events such as King Ashoka conquest. Migration, both before and during independence, has consistently sought to achieve economic prosperity and the acquisition of knowledge. The British initially arrived in India intending to engage in trade, but subsequently established colonial dominance. Presently, Indians are relocating to various nations throughout the world in search of better economic prospects. This migration is advantageous for both the host countries and India, as seen by the acknowledgement of non-resident Indians, which are also called as NRIs, in tax and foreign exchange regulations. Although the NRI movement promotes economic expansion and facilitates cultural interchange, it often poses difficulties, particularly in personal affairs. NRI grooms frequently face challenges in terms of cultural identification because of disparities between Western and Indian customs, which result in a sense of cultural estrangement. Certain individuals manipulate conventional norms in Indian marriages, such as making dowry requests, deserting their spouses, and exposing them to harm. These concerns highlight the significance of resolving problems in NRI marriages, such as unfulfilled expectations and violated responsibility. Child custody battles add complexity, necessitating meticulous legal deliberation to safeguard all parties involved. Robust measures and comprehensive support programs are crucial to protecting the rights and upholding the dignity of individuals impacted by the situation. The prevalence of Indian women being ensnared in deceitful NRI marriages has escalated, prompting the need for measures to safeguard their rights and help. Challenges encompass instances of dowry mistreatment, marriages of convenience, and the granting of unilateral divorces by foreign courts, which contravene Indian legal provisions. The intricacy of personal laws and the absence of comprehensive legislation worsen these concerns. NRI weddings provide intricate challenges in the field of private international law, which subject women to susceptibility because of their isolation, language barriers, and lack of experience with local legal systems. Given the increasing occurrence of NRI marriages, it is essential to have strong legal safeguards and support structures in place to effectively manage conflicts and safeguard the welfare of the people involved. Now, what are the laws that govern NRI marriages? NRIs are governed by a multitude of laws concerning marriages, divorce, maintenance, and child custody in India. These include the Hindu Marriage Act 1955, the Special Marriage Act 1954, and many more. NRIs are obligated to comply with all existing legislation in India. When both partners adhere to the same religion, they adhere to the specific rules and guidelines of that faith. If individuals adhere to the distinct religious beliefs, they are subject to the jurisdiction of the Special Marriage Act. Irrespective of one's caste or religion, individuals are entitled to opt for the Special Marriage Act. Now, what are the common issues in NRI marriages? Women in NRI marriages face a multitude of difficulties, as demonstrated by actual instances throughout India. First, premarital abandonment. Women frequently experience abandonment by their NRI spouses before relocating to their husband country, leaving them in a vulnerable situation, particularly if they are pregnant. Second, instances of physical and mental abuse. Upon reaching their destination in a foreign country, certain women encounter extreme mistreatment, which can include acts of physical aggression as well as psychological manipulation. Third, dowry extortion. The act of forcefully demanding dowry from women both before and after marriage exposes them to manipulation that affects their financial and emotional well-being. Airport abandonment. Women are marooned in international airports following their journey to their spouse nation. Now, identification of pre-existing marriages. Certain women become aware that their NRI partners are already legally married, resulting in abandonment or manipulation. There is deception also. Deception can occur when NRI spouses provide false or misleading information about work, immigration or marital status, which can lead women into entering marriage under false pretenses. There are some legal challenges also. The process of obtaining support or divorce is obstructed by foreign court. Orders that were obtained without the woman agreement, further complicated by the jurisdictional problems. Main important point, financial support may be withheld from women based on foreign court decisions that dissolve their marriages. Prosecuting husbands for dowry demands or abuse become challenging if they refuse to cooperate in Indian proceedings, making it harder to bring criminal charges against them. Limited jurisdiction. Overseas forced marriages might impede access to Indian courts, hence delaying judicial processes. Custody disputes. Women encounter accusations of child abduction when pursuing custody of their children after divorce, resulting in emotionally exhausting court conflicts. These occurrences highlight the necessity for strong legislative structures, global collaboration, and assistance networks to safeguard the rights and welfare of women in susceptible NRI unions. Legal issues involved in NRI marriages, conflict of laws. Disputes frequently arise in cases involving the marriages and divorces of NRIs due to conflicts between Indian legislation and foreign laws. These conflicts can be exploited by one party to gain an advantage, taking advantage of the differences in legal system. In the legal case of Anubhav versus Vikas Agarwal, the husband pursued a divorce in the United States to bypass Indian regulations, resulting in contempt charges being filed in India. The Indian court rejected the enforcement of the foreign divorce, citing inconsistencies with Indian legislation. In another case of Deepak Banerjee versus Sudipta Banerjee, the husband challenged the jurisdiction of the Indian court. However, the court maintained its authority by considering the wife residency. These examples highlight the significance of complying with Indian legal norms in matters related to NRI marriages. Indian court prioritized justice within the framework of Indian laws, despite efforts made by NRIs to exploit foreign legal systems. The conflict underscores the imperative of upholding legal principles within the Indian jurisdiction, guaranteeing impartiality and safeguarding rights in the face of difficulties arising from international marriages and divorces. Now come to the jurisdiction point. Section 9 of Code of Civil Procedure grants the court the authority to decide on all civil lawsuits, save for those that are specifically or implicitly excluded. Regarding NRI marriages, if any part of the marriage occurred in India, such as the marriage ceremony happening in India or being conducted per Indian laws anywhere in the world, or if the spouses live in India, Indian courts have automatic authority over the NRI matrimonial dispute. Furthermore, Section 3 of the Indian Penal Code states that anyone who can be prosecuted for a crime committed outside of India will be subject to the regulation of the IPC as if the act had occurred within India. Section 108A of the IPC defines abetment of an offence. According to this section, those in India who assist in the commission of act, whether it occurs within or outside of India, and would be deemed an offence if done within India, are classified as abettors. Hence, if a NRI violates Section 498A, 494 or 495 of the IPC, regardless of whether the offence occurred outside of India, the aggrieved party has the right to initiate a criminal lawsuit in India. Now come to the topic maintenance and child custody. Section 125 of the Code of Criminal Procedure, Section 24 and 25 of Hindu Marriage Act, and Section 20 of the Domestic Violence Act, as well as Section 18 and 20 of Hindu Adoption and Maintenance Act establish provisions for the financial support of wives and children. According to Section 125 of CRPC, a wife can request financial support if she is currently living in India and is unable to support herself. In addition, she has the option to pursue financial support for her underage child. Section 24 of the Hindu Marriage Act permits the provision of temporary financial support and expenses during the ongoing legal proceedings, while Section 25 provides for the pursuit of long-term financial support, which is also called as alimony. In the legal case of Harmita Singh versus Rajat Taneja, the wife was abandoned by her husband within 6 months of their marriage. This occurred because she was forced to leave their shared home within 3 months of joining her husband in the United States. Upon filing a suit for maintenance under the Hindu Adoption and Maintenance Act in India, the High Court resolved the interim motion by issuing an order that prohibited the husband from further pursuing the divorce case he had filed in a US court. The High Court further mandated him to provide a duplicate of the order to the US court. In addition, the court made many observations when making this order. The husband divorce decision acquired in the US would not be recognized in India due to the Indian court jurisdiction over the subjects. For the US courts to have jurisdiction, they would need to be established under Section 13 of the CPC. Court emphasized that until the US decree was acknowledged in India, the husband would be deemed culpable for engaging in bigamy in India and could be subject to criminal prosecution. Furthermore, the court recognized that the wife's presence in the US was brief, impermanent, and informal, and she might not have the financial means to engage in legal proceedings in a US court. Thus, the Delhi courts were the most suitable venue for the case. Now, what is the validity of foreign court orders and jurisdiction of Indian courts? Section 13 and 14 of CPC are crucial for comprehending the acknowledgement and implementation of foreign court judgments in India. Section 13 of the Indian Legal Framework specifies the requirements for a foreign judgment to be considered conclusive and enforceable in Indian courts. These requirements include the foreign court's jurisdiction and compliance with legal principles. Additionally, it must adhere to both international law and Indian local laws, guaranteeing that judgments are based on legal standards and public policy. Section 14 complements Section 13 by assuming the correctness of factual conclusions in foreign judgments, acknowledged under Section 13. The case of Narasimha Rao versus Venkata Lakshmi is a significant legal precedent that clarifies the applicability of Section 13. It highlights the importance of jurisdiction and the need to follow legal principles. These parts promote international legal collaboration and protect against unfair or illegitimate foreign judgments that contradict Indian law and public policy. Now, where in the decree of dissolution of marriage passed by the Circuit Court, the court case in St. Louis County, Missouri, sheds light on the intricacies of jurisdictions in foreign divorce process. The court exercised jurisdiction over the husband's petition due to his compliance with residency requirements and the irreparable deterioration of the marriage. The case highlighted the significance of guaranteeing proper legal procedures, especially in scenarios where one party rejects the jurisdiction of a foreign court. Citing legal precedents, the court emphasized that the act of serving legal documents alone does not create jurisdiction. Active involvement in judicial procedures is required. This adheres to the concepts of natural justice and procedural fairness. The court emphasized the importance of foreign courts in enabling effective legal disputes and guaranteeing fair treatments for all parties concerned. In general, this case highlights the significance of maintaining the integrity of jurisdiction, ensuring proper legal procedures, and promoting fairness in international divorce proceedings to protect the rights and interests of all parties involved, regardless of country boundaries. Now, there is an important concept, that is lookout circulars. Issuing lookout circulars is crucial to ensuring the presence of NRIs and their families who may be deliberately avoiding court summons. These circulars track and observe the movements of individuals at several checkpoints, such as airport, seaports, and border agencies, both within the country and internationally. To initiate a letter of concern for an Indian citizen, an official request is submitted to immigration checkpoints around the country. This request must be made using a certain format that is approved by the authorized individuals such as Deputy Secretary to the Government of India or the Superintendent of Police. The performer contains comprehensive identifying information which includes name, passport details and photographs, which assist immigration authorities in the closely tracking the individual. LOCs have a validity period of 1 year but can be prolonged if required. They function as an essential instrument for law enforcement to guarantee the presence of individuals in court proceedings, deterring them from avoiding accountability and maintaining the integrity of legal system. Now another thing, divorce. Marriage dissolution, like other life changes such as birth or retirement, requires meticulous legal management, particularly in India, where the reasons for divorce are specified by laws like the Hindu Marriage Act. However, complications occur when NRIs take advantage of lenient divorce rules in other jurisdictions to avoid their obligations toward their spouses, frequently leaving them unprepared and susceptible. The case of Veena Kalia versus Jitendra N. Kalia exemplifies a situation where a non-resident Indian husband sought a divorce in Canada without his wife being present, thereby ignoring the legal criteria set by the Indian court system. The Delhi High Court has determined that foreign divorces do not prevent Indian legal remedies, considering considerations such as financial limitations that impede legal defense. Legal precedents such as the case of Magan Bhai versus Maniben, emphasize that the foreign judgments have a restricted influence when contested according to Indian law. Indian courts prioritize justice and equal access to legal redress in diverse proceedings, ensuring fairness despite geographic or procedural obstacles. Now, custody of children, that is more important issue. Marital issues that involve children often give rise to custody disputes when each parent asserts their rights. Section 26 of Hindu Marriage Act pertains to child custody in the context of legal proceedings, granting courts the authority to give temporary orders on the kids' welfare, financial assistance, and education. The court places a higher importance on the child welfare compared to the rights of the parents, acknowledging that parental rights are not unconditional. According to Section 6 of Hindu Minority and Guardianship Act, the father is designated as primary guardian. However, if the child is under the age of 5, the mother takes on this responsibility. This legislative framework emphasizes the obligation of parents while prioritizing the well-being of the child. Offsprings are not chattels of their progenitors. This notion has been upheld by the Supreme Court in multiple judgments. Therefore, custody decisions prioritize the well-being of the child, intending to promote their comprehensive development and stability. The court's primary objective is to set custody arrangements that create a caring atmosphere that promotes the child's development. Now, what are the initiatives of National Commission for Women? The NRI cell. The creation of the NRI cell by the Government of India demonstrates a proactive approach to addressing the growing problems related to NRI weddings and the difficulties encountered by the affected women. The existence of these marriages amongst individuals from different countries has posed intricate legal and social challenges, requiring a synchronized strategy for resolution. The NRI cell was officially established in 2009 based on suggestions from the Parliamentary Committee on Empowerment of Women. It operates under the National Commission for Women at the national level. It specifically deals with grievances about NRI marriages, particularly those that entail infringements upon women's rights or significant injustices perpetrated against them. The NRI cell has effectively addressed complaints from both domestic and international sources since its establishment. The NCW collaborates with the pertinent ministries such as the Ministry of External Affairs, the Ministry of Law and Justice, and the Ministry of Home Affairs to ensure a coordinated effort in promptly resolving procedural challenges and providing immediate support to victims of troublesome NRI marriages. The establishment of NRI cell and the collaborative initiatives between NCW and the government demonstrate a strong dedication to safeguarding the rights and well-being of women impacted by NRI marriages. The NRI cell serves as a dedicated platform for resolving grievances and enabling resolutions, playing a vital role in promoting justice and empowerment. The adage, prevention is better than cure, is highly pertinent in tackling the difficulties encountered in NRI marriages and child matters. as well as wider societal concerns of women equality and empowerment. Preventive steps are crucial in NRI marriages to prevent instances of spouses, especially women, being deceived or deserted. Although there are legal structures and organizations in place to handle these concerns after they happen, it is essential to adopt a proactive approach that prioritizes prevention. This entails advocating for principles of reciprocal regard, parity, and accountability in interpersonal connections from a young age. The fact that educated NRI individuals are also engaged in societal issues such as dowry and desertion emphasizes the necessity for comprehensive preventive measures. Solely relying on education may not be adequate to tackle deeply ingrained societal norms. Hence, proactive strategies should prioritize the promotion of principles of egalitarianism and reverence throughout all sectors of society. To establish a fair and rightish society, it is crucial to prioritize prevention through education, awareness, and societal norms. This approach will ensure that the rights and dignity of every individual, regardless of their gender, are upheld and respected. With this, we come to the end of today's lecture. Thank you very much.